all this studying has really got me thinking I absolutely need to take a vacation over the summer holidays.
Wow, okay, that sounds great. It sounds like you'd like to escape somewhere warm. Have you thought about it at all?
Yeah, I definitely want to go with my partner. I'm thinking June, and definitely an all-inclusive style resort in the Caribbean.
Oh, awesome. I love traveling to the Caribbean. I might be able to help you narrow down your choices. Do you have any must-haves or goals that you want from your dream vacation?
Definitely beach. So access to the beach and some level of privacy as well. That's really important. Vegetarian options and just like good food overall.
Oh, okay. That really helps. I do have a couple of recommendations in mind, but I did want to let you know ahead of time that the two recommendations I have are both places that I've been to before, so I might be a little bit biased, but I think it would be good to hear from personal experience as well. I was thinking of one resort in Jamaica and one in Dominican Republic. Do you think those are a good place to start?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to have recommendations from someone who's been there before.
Sure. So I'd like to start off by talking about my first recommendation based on your goals. So option one is the Bahia Principe Luxury Runaway Bay Resort, which we'll just call the Runaway Bay Resort for short. So this resort takes off all of your boxes. So it's got a huge beach with a good opportunity to see tropical fish if you bring your snorkel with you. Plenty of vegetarian options, and it also has many opportunities for privacy since you said you wanted to go in June, right? So the resort is usually only about half full at that time of year. So the real benefit to this resort, if you ask me, is that it's adults only, meaning that everyone there is over the age of 18. And something else to consider, a plus, is that it's an English-speaking country, so it'll be easier to navigate and communicate with the staff as well. So there is a minor travel advisory to be cautious of in Montego Bay, but it is actually over an hour away, so you should be very safe on the resort.
Okay, great. So what was the other option you're thinking of?
So the other option is the Royalton Punta Cana. This one's in the heart of the resort district of Punta Cana in Dominican Republic. This resort also has all the things that you wanted. So there is a white sand beach, and it is a bit calmer in the water there. Traveling in June would have the same privacy expectations as you did for the other resort, and it has 9 a la carte restaurants to choose from each night, including so many vegetarian options. So this resort is pretty safe since it's a private resort, and the beach is restricted to guests only as well.
Okay, wow, that sounds great.
Cool. So I would like to talk about the drawback to this resort, though. It is in a Spanish speaking country, so not every staff member speaks English. So it would really help if you did have a little bit of Spanish speaking knowledge. There is a travel advisory from the government of Canada for all of Dominican Republic to exercise a high degree of caution because of the high crime rate. This is an important consideration. However, if you're planning on staying on the resort and you take the shuttle from the airport to the resort, then you shouldn't have any issues at all. It's also not limited to adults, so if you're thinking that might be a benefit for you, you might want to consider that as well.
Okay, well, Spanish speaking is not a problem because my partner speaks Spanish, but the safety is something that I definitely want to look into.
Okay, great. Then let's think back to the Runaway Bay Resort. A negative here is that the flight will land in Montego Bay, and as I mentioned before, there is the travel advisory for this part of the country. However, this is mentioned because there is gang violence in that area, and it shouldn't affect you as long as you take the provided shuttle from the airport to the resort. Also, the resort does cost a bit more here, though. That would be my main drawback. It is about $200 more per person, so that's important to consider.
Do you think the extra $200 is worth it?
Well, actually, I think that's really more your preference. I would consider the benefits of the Runaway Bay Resort and try to identify if they equal that extra $200 that you're paying in your mind. I would keep in mind that Jamaica is typically more expensive than Dominican Republic at any time of the year, and the prices do typically drop closer to the date of travel, so if you consider waiting until closer to the date, you might have a significantly less price to pay. Ultimately, it's your choice though.
Okay, so that really helps. So since you've been to these places before, I want to ask your opinion on Costa Rica. I've heard the wildlife is super awesome.
Totally. It's a really good option. I might consider that you'd look into the Rio Palace, Costa Rica. That's in Liberia. However, it is $400 more on average than any of the other options that I mentioned earlier, so that's something else to think about.
Yeah, you're right. That's a bit more expensive than I was expecting.
Yeah, it tends to be on the higher end of prices. But is there anything else that you wanted to discuss? Maybe something I mentioned earlier?
Well, just overall safety is really important for me as a young female who's traveling.
For sure. So safety should be really high on your list, especially when you travel anywhere that's outside of your home nation. So I should mention that you could decide to not go on a tropical vacation at all. You could stay in Canada. It just as a more feasible decision, as it would save you some money and potentially be more safe. But the consequences of this might be that you might not be as relaxed and refreshed for your upcoming school year, although I would be willing to help you get through that trip as well.
Sure, thanks. I think I'm pretty sure I'm set on wanting to go though.
Perfect. So in addition to your original wishes, it sounds like you've decided that safety and price are big factors as well. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So to summarize, the Royalton Punta Cana is in Dominican, and it has the benefit of many good restaurants, a calm beach, but there's a travel advisory. Whereas the Runaway Bay Resort had the opportunity to snorkel, and it was all adults only, so less kids there, but it's more expensive. I think both have all of your wishes, but you should think about the pros and cons of both.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you can move forward with booking one of these options?
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to do a lot more research into the Dominican Republic.
Perfect. Hey Eden.
Hey.
So, as much as I'm loving being in this economics program, and I'm almost done, it's not helping me with my reproductive health. I'm so thankful you can meet with me and get some information about this, because when I went to see my doctor, I found that I know about birth control, but I didn't get all the information.
Yeah, of course, I understand it can be really overwhelming when you don't have all the information. I'm glad you're making an effort to make this really educated decision. I know when we talked about it last, you were unsure of how long you wanted to be on birth control, and you were leaning toward a more like month-to-month method. Is this still true?
Yeah, so when I was talking to my doctor, she made it clear that there's other types of birth control out there, so like the IUD and the injections, but I think that I'm not really interested in that. I'm really wanting something that I can just stop at any time because graduation's coming up.
Yeah. It sounds like you're making a really good decision based on what's important to you. Is this like month-to-month method? It can be really good because you can stop at any point, but there's also no risk to staying on it for an extended period of time. So when you did see your doctor, did you go over the benefits and the disadvantages of going on the hormonal method?
Yeah, she did. So that's what helped me make the decision that I wanted to go on the month-to-month method. I'm clear on all the risks and the benefits of hormonal versus non-hormonal birth control.
Yeah.
But she did really just briefly throw in at the end that there are some different types that I have to make a choice on.
Yeah. Okay, well, to start, what's important to you when it comes to birth control? Why are you choosing to go on it?
So I'm now in a committed relationship with someone, and I'm really close to graduation, so I don't really want to be pregnant before then. So that's my main reason. But I also don't want it to limit my day-to-day life.
Right, of course, that makes sense. The information I have will hopefully help you make a decision that fits all of those needs.
Okay, great. So what are the options?
Okay, so you have 3 kinds to choose from: the pill, vaginal ring, and the patch. All these have similar side effects, cause similar physiological changes such as less acne, lighter periods, and don't protect against STIs, and all work the same ways to prevent pregnancy. Have you heard of all these?
So I've heard of the pill before. Like my doctor did explain all the mechanisms of like the benefits and the risks associated with that. But I didn't know there were so many options out there. I just knew about the one really, other than the patch, and I did know that I definitely didn't want to go with that route.
Okay.
Could you tell me more about like the pill versus the ring?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so the pill is great. It's really discreet. It's a very small pill, easy to swallow. However, it is something that you have to take every single day, and it has to be taken at the exact same time for it to be the most effective. You will have to take the hormonal pill for 3 weeks, and then there'll be a week of placebo or sugar pills. This allows you to have your period that week, but you're still protected the whole month. The ring, in comparison, is a physical ring that goes in your vagina, and you insert and remove it yourself. You insert the ring and leave it in for 3 weeks. You have a week with no ring where you have your period. And fortunately, with the ring, it's not a daily concern. You only have to remember it once a month just to add and remove it.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so fortunately, most people don't feel it at all. There's no discomfort. However, there is a possibility that it could cause some irritation. On the positive side, though, most say that it's quite easy to remove, and since I know you used the Diva cup, hopefully that isn't too intimidating for you. Finally, even though it's something foreign there's no interference with sex, and neither you nor your partner should notice anything abnormal. Okay. So for further comparison, the ring also may decrease spotting, vaginal dryness, moodiness, nausea, acne, and all compared to the pill. But the ring actually may increase the risk of vaginitis and slightly abnormal discharge.
Wow, okay, that really clears things up for me.
Okay, so for all of that I mentioned, is there anything that you liked, didn't like?
Yeah, I'm just kind of concerned with the pill that it's kind of hard to take the pill every day. Like, what happens if I forget or if I take it at the wrong time?
Right, okay. Well, if you forget, you will need to take it as soon as you remember, even if it's only a few hours later. If you don't remember until the next pill time, then you're going to need to take both, but never more than 2. The research has found that backup contraception is not necessary if you only miss 1 pill for a couple hours. However, if you do end up missing more than 1, backup contraception is suggested, and you're less protected from pregnancy, so you've taken the pill for over 7 days.
Okay.
Overall, the pill, when used perfectly, is over 99.7% effective, but with typical use, it's only about 91% effective, but again, this is still quite high.
So, really, my main concern right now is to not get pregnant. But I also really don't want to use any backup methods. What about the effectiveness of the ring?
Okay, so the ring has the exact same effectiveness as the pill with perfect or typical use. However, as long as you remember the insertion and extraction days, you won't have to worry about backup methods in comparison.
Oh, what? Cool. So, to be honest, really, like, the ring seems to be what I'm leaning towards, despite the disadvantages you mentioned. I hear, though, that most people are taking the pill. Would it be weird or different, or what do most people do? Like, do they use the ring?
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. I myself have taken the pill, but I wasn't actually that happy with it. And so I do actually have a slight bias against it. However, I do know some people that absolutely love the pill. Since I didn't know much about the ring, I found in a few studies that less people have actually discontinued the ring, and others found that there's a huge amount of satisfaction with the ring, and it was consistently over 80% or even 90% satisfaction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so overall, I think that many people have found success in both the ring and the pill, and since side effects and effectiveness is really quite similar, it comes down to your preference and your desires and what you value as important with all this information.
Okay.
Of course, you always have the other option to choose to not go on birth control or choose a method that we didn't even talk about right now.
True. So, well, like, all this information has really made me feel a lot better about this whole birth control situation. If you don't mind sending me all of your notes that you had, that would be so great, because I could do my own research on it as well, and I think I could make my own decision, but I think I'm really leaning towards the ring form of birth control.
Yeah, great.
Thanks.